Ever since the reintroduction of the Stranger Things DLC, there has been a surge, pun intended, in Demogorgon players, and they're not all up to standard, shall we say. So me, being a Demogorgon main, I thought I would take it upon myself to give you my perk recommendations and a rundown on how to play him. So first of all, let's discuss his power. It is called Of the Abyss and has many functions. First of all, it allows the Demogorgon to place up to 6 portals around the map which he can traverse through to make distance. This of course is good for patrolling generators and hooks, especially now due to the anti-camp mechanic. So as mentioned, this ability is good for proxy camping, but it also has a secondary function, as active portals give you killer's instinct when a survivor is within its radius. So when combined with an add-on such as Lifeguard's Whistle, it can be used to protect your hex perks. The best one of course being Devour Hope. Now let me sidetrack for a minute to explain to you why Devour Hope is the Demogorgon's best perk. So first of all, you'll be protected by the notifications of your portal, and in addition to this, you can use the portals to give you a 24-meter distance between you and the hook survivor, so you can gain a stack of Devour Hope. And at 3 stacks, you can enter down, and at 5 stacks, you'll be able to Mori survivors regardless of their hook stage. The portals can also be used to traverse back to the survivors after they're unhooked. Now I'm not advocating to tunnel, but it is beneficial to do so, as it gains you stacks, and any means to get you closer to the enter down should be used if you want the best chance of winning, due to how much pressure Devour Hope applies. Another use of a portal will be defending gens, as you can go back and forth kicking each one whilst getting notified when a survivor tries to even remotely come close to a generator, making Demo a monster in a free gen scenario. That's obviously another pun intended. The gen pressure can also be used to trigger out perks such as Pop Goes the Weasel, as you can go from a hook directly to a generator, making a gen kick Demogorgon build quite viable, which I've done so already if you want to check it out on my channel. That's enough about the portals for now. How about we move to the most crucial part of his power, the Shred. The Shred is an anti-loop power which when charged allows you to dash forward, destroying any pallets or breakable walls in your way, and if you manage to hit a survivor, you will deal a health state worth of damage. Now since you have to charge a Shred, you may accidentally click the button too early, causing you to perform a basic attack. So to circumvent this, I use the most crucial tip for Demogorgon, and you've probably heard of it before. So to ensure you always hit your Shreds when charging Of the Abyss, wait until the lines over corners are black, and that's how you know when your Shred is fully charged. In addition, the longer you charge a Shred, the further your dash will be. Now that covers the power. Let's move on to the add-ons. We'll start at the browns and work our way up. Now, the browns are nothing to write home about. The black heart is alright if you're good at hitting your shots, as it reduces the cooldown of hitting survivors. If we now look at the yellows, the best one by far is Bob's Glasses, as it reduces the Shred cooldown for breaking pallets and breakable walls. So it works great with the prior mentioned black heart, but other than that, there's not really any great yellow add-ons, unless of course you're first starting to play Demogorgon, in which I recommend the add-on Muse Guts, as it makes missing special attacks not as punishing, and it gives you an extra portal to work with, so it's not half bad. Now, if we look at the greens, they are all but useful. They all have a gimmick such as reducing portal travel time or inflicting blindness to survivors who are cleansing portals, but they are so niche and not recommended, and the only green add-on that is even remotely viable would be 11 Soda, as it is decent aura reading for the add-on rarity, especially if you keep your portals near generators. For purples, there are 2 standouts, the Lifeguard Whistle and the Unknown Egg. The Unknown Egg just makes your power charge faster, so of course it's a welcome addition in any build. The Lifeguard Whistle reduces the portal's detection radius by 1, but when survivors are in the radius of a portal, Killer Instinct will automatically trigger even whilst you're not charging your power. So this works well in tandem with the previously mentioned Muse Guts, as you have an additional portal to work with. Furthermore, you can use a portal radius add-on, which will make up for the lost meter whilst making your portals harder to close. For I don't recommend using 40 vines if not used with a whistle, and you're better off using the additional portal rather than the additional meter, as it's just more practical in actual gameplay for defending generators and patrolling your hexes, so on and so forth. And finally we have the most broken add-ons, which of course are the eerie add-ons. Red Moss is the worst of the two, as it only increases the time you become undetectable as you exit from a portal, and also makes emerging from a portal silent, but it comes with a negative of it taking longer for you to come out the portals. Now one key factor of this add-on is that it says it suppresses the noise of the Demogorgon, but an issue with this is the audio of a portal still plays, so you still know when the Demogorgon is teleporting. So I'm not a huge fan of this add-on, even though it can allow you to play a little more stealthier. Then we have the Demogorgon's best add-on, which of course is the Lepros Lichen. Try say that 5 times fast. This add-on allows you to see all survivors while traversing the upside down, and this effect lingers for all survivors within 16 meters range of an active portal for 3 seconds after emerging from a portal. Now let's move on to the perks. The Demogorgon had 3 unique perks which turn general, which turn back to unique. We will assess the perks from worst to best. So first off, we have Mindbreaker. This perk blinds and exhausts any survivors working on a generator, and this effect persists for 5 seconds after a survivor stops repairing it. This perk is all around a pretty useful perk, especially on stealth killers such as Ghostface and Myers. This is due to how the blindness effect stops them from being revealed by aura reading perks, and in addition, it also counts as the most used perk in the game, which of course is Windows of Opportunity. This perk also stops exhaustion perks such as Sprint Burst and Dead Hard, so you can prohibit them from making distance. Even better is that exhaustion only comes back when you are not running, so this perk essentially forces the survivors to walk for at least 5 seconds to be able to use their best perks, and if they accidentally trigger Sprint Burst when walking to the gen, you bet they're not getting it back for the rest of the game. Although this perk is good, I don't recommend using it on the Demogorgon, as Demo is a more aggressive killer. The second perk is Cruel Limits. After a generator completes, Cruel Limit blocks all windows for the next 60 seconds. Now I should not need to mention how broken this is, as it completely removes the game mechanic for a whole minute, forcing the survivors to either waste all their pellets or will result in some free downs. This perk, just like the previous mentioned Mindbreaker, is great, but not worth running with Demogorgon, as he already can close distance with his shred, so a more adept demo will never need to worry about windows. His final perk, and his most viable perk, is Surge. This perk explodes a generator and causes it to lose 8% progress and make it regress after downing a survivor for basic attack. This is a great perk for generic gen regression, and it's very easy to just slap on and use, but be aware that it only triggers on basic attacks, so this perk isn't great on M2 killers such as Blight and Nurse, so that makes it just okay on killers such as Nemesis and Xenomorph, and of course Demogorgon, due to their reliance on M2 attacks. So based on how much you use the shred, I don't recommend using Surge, as you won't get as much value out of it as you could, especially when you could just use a generic slowdown perk and you'd get just as much results due to the effort you have to go to use Surge. So now allow me to recommend some perks and builds. So of course I've made many builds on this channel showing the power of the Demogorgon, such as a Gen Kick slowdown build and a Hex build focused on setting up portals, and I even made a build specifically aimed at destroying pallets to bulldoze these survivors. So you can take the perks used in these builds such as the Spirit Fury and Enduring and combine it with generic slowdown perks such as Deadlock and No Way Out, or you could run a more slowdown orientated build and use perks such as Nowhere to Hide along with Pop Goes the Weasel, whilst also using Lethal Pursuer for early game pressure. Or to make demo more oppressive, you can use perks such as Save Our Best for Last due to how you have a flexibility of switching between your basic attack and special attack. But of course the perks and builds listed are just examples, as almost any perk works in some way, shape or form due to the Demogorgon being a very flexible killer that can adapt to any playstyle. I have mentioned all the strengths and abilities that Demogorgon has, so now I should mention his weaknesses so that you can better play around them. He has 3 big weaknesses, which are his snowball potential, his built-in slowdown, and his early game pressure. So first off, Demo lacks early game pressure, as his best form of map mobility comes from his portals, and of course it takes time to set them up. So your first minute of a game is pure setup if you want to optimize your mobility later on in the game. Or you can sacrifice setup to try and gain some sort of pressure, but that would result in poor mid to late game pressure due to lack of portals. So there's no remedy to this unless you run perks such as Corrupt Intervention, but even then it's not enough to circumvent a well coordinated Swift. The next weakness is his snowball potential, and that is due to how he has no aspect to his power that allows him to go from survivor to survivor to snowball pressure, and the good snowballing perks such as Rapid Brutality and Forced Hesitation aren't great on him and not worth a perk slot. So when playing him, be sure to try and zone properly by forcing survivors into dead zones with the shred. And the final weakness, and the most potent, which is no base kit slowdown. And I know people may argue that the portals count as slowdown, as you must cleanse them to remove them, but you'll find that more often than not, the survivors won't even cleanse your portals due to how long it takes, and due to that they don't even need to do so. So the solution to this is to run generic slowdown perks or run Gen Kick based perks, as it is 100% worth committing at least 1 perk slot to the slowdown, where you face the risk of being gen rushed with just 1 or 2 hooks. And that concludes the guide. Leave any questions you may have in the comments and I'll be sure to answer any and all of them. And if you liked today's video, consider giving me a sub. Have a good day. See ya.